Oop wonders if she's the asshole for turning off a movie halfway through. I am not op. Original post by you. Deleted. In our Amethyst hole. Trigger warning. Domestic abuse. Less than. An NBSP. AITA for shutting off the movie halfway through and making my boyfriend feel bad? The 14th of July 2021. My boyfriend, Wyatt, and I always watch movies together every time we have off days that end up on the same day. Especially since the pandemic. And we go back and forth on who picks the movie. But I've noticed he's usually talking through my movie choices. Either pointing out plot holes, or just talking down about the movie in one way or another. I never act this way when it's his turn to pick the movie. Even if I don't care for it. Like the last movie he chose. The Fountain. I was so confused until halfway through and then bored the rest of the film. But I didn't talk during the movie or constantly dump on it either. And even at the end when he asked what I thought, I said it was alright. Even though I thought the movie wasn't good. It tried to do a bunch of different things all at once and ended up doing nothing. But he seemed really fond of it, so I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But he doesn't seem to have that mindset when it comes to him watching my picks. I've told him to shush and to just watch the movies, but he just sighs loudly and says they're boring. If I tell him to stop, he gets all huffy and goes totally silent and usually takes his phone out to play a game or scroll the internet, totally ignoring me in the movie. It really hurts my feelings. And yesterday was my turn to choose again. And I picked a good movie that really hit me hard as a kid. I bawled when I first watched it and still tear up to this day. And I told him this movie was special to me, but he barely got 10 minutes into it before he started up saying it was boring and childish. It is a kid's movie, but that doesn't make it boring. I was getting upset, and before the big part of the movie even got close, I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt like him acting this way during a super important part would ruin the movie for me. Maybe forever. So I just got up and turned it off. He asked what I was doing and I told him I didn't want to have the movie ruined for me, so it was better if I just turn it off. He said I was being a baby and to turn it back on. I refused and just told him to pick something to watch instead. Then I sat on the couch. He got mad and said if I was gonna be dramatic like this, then he didn't want to watch anything with me, and got up and went to his room and slammed the door. This happened the other day and he's been giving me the cold shoulder, and when I asked why, he said he wants an apology for making him feel like dirt. Should I apologize? Did I really make a huge deal out of just a movie? AITA? Verdict. NTA. I've gotten a lot of comments and IMs asking what the movie I chose was. It was The Bridge to Terabithia. It's not the best movie ever, but it was the first kids movie I watched when I was young that really moved me and made me cry. Hey. Final. Edit. I ended up having to call my parents, who called the cops on Wyatt. I read all the advice from everyone saying he wasn't respecting my interests or me as a person, and it got me thinking, and stuff I ignored or overlooked before started popping out to me. Stuff that didn't seem fair to me that I just put up with because I loved him. And so many people told me to just break up with him and I could do better. But I was in love and he was my first serious boyfriend. And I really just wanted to work things out and get through this thing with him. So I tried to sit down and have a serious talk with him. Just hoping he'd listen this time. I told him how he acted made me feel, and his behavior during my movie choices ruined the experience for me. And I told him I never act that way during his movies because I know he likes them and I respect him and don't want to be mean or belittle his interests, even if they don't interest me. About then he told me I was being dramatic again and they were just stupid movies, and he tried excusing his behavior by saying my movie choices suck anyways. I was just so tired by this point and wanted some space and quiet to think about where we go from here. So I started to ask him to go back to his apartment for the night, but he interrupted me by yelling, "How, since I couldn't have my way, I was kicking him out." It really scared me because he'd never screamed at me before. Even when he'd raise his voice during arguments, he never full-on screamed at me. I tried to get him to calm down, but he started calling me a bunch of nasty stuff and even backed me up against a wall and grabbed my bicep hard enough to bruise I saw later. I panicked and ran to the bathroom and locked it behind me. He banged on the door, telling me to come out, and I was crying and couldn't think of anything else to do but call my parents. Mom answered and she could hear him screaming and the banging in the background. Her and Dad were freaked out and Dad called the cops. Long story short, the cops and my folks showed up and Wyatt was removed from my apartment and my parents told him not to come back or we'd get a restraining order. It's almost 10:30 p.m. now and I've locked my apartment up and am currently staying with my mom and Dad for a while. Thanks for the advice, everyone. But Wyatt and I are pretty much over and I think I'm done with this account and I'll be logging off now. An NBSP reminder: I am not the original poster. Oh wow, I remember reading that when Oop first posted it, but had no idea it ended so terrifyingly. Best wishes to Oop that they're safe and have a better, more peaceful life now. Hopefully with someone that isn't afraid to enjoy all kinds of movies. I hope Oop is doing well, though it seems random. The ex-BF's true behaviors and beliefs were sneaking through via his insults of her movie picks. Insult her tastes, belittle her feelings, demonstrate benevolent superiority, and you have an obedient woman for life. I'm glad she was able to escape him. Man, the second he felt his control slipping, he escalated big time. I'm sad she had to go through this, but happy that he show his true colors now instead of when they would either live together or married. But what the hell was that? Is that some kind of nagging? What goal did he have in mind? The pretty much over at the end scares me. That relationship should be very, very over. In the comments you see the age gap and things make more sense. We don't officially live together, but he spends a lot of time at my place compared to his own. Mostly because he says he likes my place better and because he says his roommates are jerks. I don't mind so much because when he's not over, my place is pretty quiet. And I'm 25 and he's 38. First real relationship. 13-year age gap. He was just looking for someone to control him. Your movies are boring. Her. That's why you pick half the time. Him. But your picks suck. Her. So do yours, but we watch them together because we care about each other. Him. Fucking. No, we don't. I was not expecting that. It really took a turn for the worse. But I was in love and he was my first serious boyfriend. The number of people who put up with dismissive or general poor treatment from and so because it's their first real relationship saddens me. I remember those rose-tinted glasses and they really do blind you. Wow, I did not expect this escalation. I think this is a fascinating study of an abuser. He was in the slowly eroding her self-esteem and lowering the standards stage of introducing emotional abuse to the relationship. She reacted the way most victims at this stage do not react. I.e., she actually noticed and stood up for herself. So he blew up. This is interesting to me. BCI would expect him to pretend to feel sorry, then be better for like a week, and then start to sneak in the insults again. But I guess he didn't have the patience for that. I hope that we are pretty much over. Comment means she dumped him. I mean, it probably does. I just don't like the soft language used. Like she wasn't quite there yet. My wife and I don't enjoy the same kinds of movies, so you know what we did. Stopped watching movies together. You don't have to do everything with your partner. Though granted the issue in Op's situation was a little more intense. Got up and went to his room and slammed the door. Did he have his own room at her apartment? Wyatt derp. I really hope they're 150% over and not pretty much over, because, sheesh. Me halfway through. What kind of monster isn't moved by bridge to Terabithia? Me reading part 2. Oh, that kind of monster. Christ. What an asshole of an ex-boyfriend. I'm glad she called her parents and they were able to get him removed. I hope he never bothers her again. He is dangerous. I can't help but feel he thinks of himself as a nice guy, and is probably bitching and moaning to everyone that he's the actual victim here. Face vomiting. I'm glad Oop got out before she was seriously hurt. Sometimes people say that women make big things from little things, but there's no such a thing as little stuff. That escalated quickly, but emotional abuse tend to lead to verbal and physical abuse. Proud of Oop for sticking up for herself. We tend to try to hold on that first BF, but a lot of times the first BF is trash. I wonder how long they were together before this side of Wyatt was revealed. So glad she figured out he had the potential to be violent before they got married or pregnant.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.